she was called a beast, until a human called her beautiful. They called her a beast. Not to her face. They didn't dare, but behind closed doors and veiled whispers. The alien woman known as General Virell the Drakana was feared, shunned, and spoken of with dread. She stood 8 feet tall, armored in dark silver scales, with voice like grinding stone and eyes that glowed violet in the dark. She had earned every bit of her reputation on the battlefield, ruthless, cold, unstoppable. But even a beast can bleed, and on one ruined battlefield, she did. A sniper's blast had struck her side. Her squad had fled, believing her dead. She crawled into the ruins of an old human outpost, where the walls still hummed faintly with solar energy. And there she collapsed. That's when he found her. Daniel Hayes was a mechanic, not a soldier. He'd come to salvage equipment from the wreckage left behind when the humans had evacuated. He was just climbing to the cracked walls of the outpost when he saw her, slumped, bleeding, breathing shallowly, her armor cracked, her claws twitching weakly. He should have run, but instead he approached. Her eyes opened, fierce and wild. She growled, trying to rise. "Hey, easy," Daniel said, lifting his hands. "You're hurt. I'm not here to fight." "You're human," she rasped. "Last I checked." She bared her teeth. "Leave me before I kill you." Daniel glanced at the blood pooling beneath her. "You're not killing anyone in that condition." He knelt beside her, pulled out a medkit, and got to work. The pain nearly made her pass out again, but Virell watched the human as he cleaned the wound, sealed it with foam, and wrapped her side. "Why?" she asked. "Why help me?" He shrugged. Seemed like the right thing to do. "I'm Drakana. Your people fear me." "I don't," he said simply. "You should." He gave a small grin. "Maybe, but right now you're more wounded warrior than monster." Her eyes flickered with something unreadable. He stayed with her for 2 days. He shared food, found her water, and told her stories of Earth, of oceans, blue skies, and things that sounded like dreams of someone raised in war. She listened, sometimes in silence, sometimes with sharp questions. "You're strange, human," she muttered one night as they sat beside a salvage heater. "Yeah, I get that a lot." She looked at him then, really looked. Her claws had retracted. Her voice was softer. "Do you know what they call me?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "Yeah, I've heard." She waited for fear or disgust. Saw neither. "I think they're wrong," he said. "You're not a beast. You're just someone who's never been given a reason to be anything else." She blinked, stunned into silence. Then he added, voice low, "You're beautiful, you know." The word struck harder than any blade. No one had ever said that to her before. Not on her world. Not in her life. She wasn't soft-skinned or graceful. Her people praised strength, not beauty. And the other races saw her as a terror. But this human, this quiet, odd man, had looked her in the eye and called her beautiful. She didn't know how to respond. So she didn't. But something in her chest cracked open. By the 3rd day, she could stand. "You'll be okay," Daniel said. "I'll walk with you until the ridge. After that, your side should hold." "Why?" she asked again. "Why care?" Daniel looked at her gently. "Because maybe someone should." She stared at him for a long time. Then she touched his arm, lightly, with claws that could tear through steel, but didn't. "Had you been born Drakana," she said, "you would have been mine." He chuckled. "And if you'd been born human, I'd still think you were beautiful." She laughed, a deep, rough sound that startled even her. They parted ways at the ridge. She looked back only once. He was still standing there, watching her. The beast walked away with a quiet smile. Weeks passed. War simmered. Rumors spread. The Drakana general was no longer seen, on the front lines. Some said she had vanished. Others said she was planning something. Then, without warning, she returned. But something had changed. Her fury was measured, her wrath controlled. She spared cities she would have destroyed before. She ordered mercy for prisoners. Her own people didn't understand, but they followed her. And one night, long after the battle drums had silenced, she stood before the Drakana High Council and spoke words that shook them. "I want peace." They laughed until they saw her face. She wasn't threatening them. She was hoping. The treaty summit was tense. Representatives from dozens of systems arrived, but none so cautiously as the humans. And among them, wearing a simple jacket stained with engine grease, was Daniel. He didn't expect to see her, but she walked into the room like thunder, still tall, still fierce, and her eyes found him instantly. The others stepped back as she approached. He swallowed. "Hey!" She stopped before him. "You call me beautiful," she said. "I meant it." She leaned closer. "Then I will show you what that means in my language." And before anyone could react, she bent her head and touched her forehead to his, a sacred gesture of her people. Gasps echoed. Silence followed. Then applause. No one called her a beast after that. They called her something else. Ambassador, reformer, queen-to-be. But to Daniel, she was just Virell. And sometimes, late at night beneath alien stars, she would rest her head beside his and whisper, "You were the first to see me." And he would answer, "You were always worth seeing."